Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we have a really interesting topic to get into. So basically, if you guys didn't hear, Jamal Bryant went on this podcast, and he was basically talking about how he thinks that his church, he's talked to some of his deacons. He's a pastor, by the way, in Atlanta. I think his church is called New Birth or New, I think New Birth, New something. And it is the largest land owning Black church in the country, according to him. And he basically said that, you know, why don't, with all this land and all these resources, we can get brothers to come to the church by, growing weed, having a weed business or something. And he was like, listen, a little boy or a young man in Bankhead is like, oh, whoa, the church is growing weed. I gotta go there. And there's a couple things about the situation that I just wanted to get into. So the first thing is, do I think that churches should grow weed? No, I don't. I think that I I think, if I'm not mistaken, somebody could interpret what he's saying two different ways. And I'm not 100% sure like what he was saying, but a part of me was asking myself, is he saying like like in terms of like figuratively, like, you know, there might be people who, have a who love weed, who, and he was talking about how, I want people to come to my church who smell like weed. Is he saying, kind of like, as Christians, we're not supposed to stop people from coming to the house of the Lord? All of us have fallen short. All of us are sinners. All of us need Jesus. So is he saying that, I want people who may have a rough past. I want people who, they are into certain drugs, but we come to the church so that, you know, that deliverance can start happening, that growth can start happening. Was that what he was saying? Or is he saying like literally, let's grow weed in the church? Medically is different, because I know that that has like a positive purpose versus like recreationally. Like, I'm not going to judge anybody who, does that type of stuff, but I think that, it, I don't think recreationally it's as beneficial, because, there's a lot of things that goes into that. Apparently it kind of mellows you down. A lot of people who do that type of stuff say that, they've seen certain things kind of make you, I guess, kind of hallucinate a little bit. You know, I just think, you know what, like, if you're doing that, God is going to give you your own personal convictions. But, that's just that. But in terms of like medically, that's different. So I was like, okay, are you like growing it for medical purpose? I don't know. But if it's like just for recreational to like sell, like, I don't know if that's like, I don't know, like you as a pastor, like leading a flock, like, I don't know. I don't think that would be like the best like leadership thing to do. And like at that point, like when you're a pastor and that you have like a lot more on your shoulder, like a bigger chip on your shoulder, and you're leading, like, what type of message does that send to the members of your church? What type of message does that send about the church in general? Like, does that send a good message? I don't necessarily think so, because like that's not really what I guess Christianity would propose. But if you're talking about like people who smoke weed in general who want to come to church, like, obviously, yeah, like we need to invite people who really, really, really need, like, we cannot be shutting people out. Like, people who have certain addictions, like, they need Jesus. People who do certain drugs, they need Jesus. People who have issues with anything, we all need Jesus. Like, so I was thinking in my head, like, maybe he was saying like, oh, like people who smell like weed, like, I want you to come to church. Yeah, like, we we need. who needs church? Sinners. We're all sinners. Who needs church? People who are continuing their growth with Jesus Christ. We all need Jesus. We all need a community of people. But yeah, I think that's a very, very like slippery slope. And I'm just like, why not get the brothers who smell like weed to come to church? And how about you teach them other things, other ways to start businesses, or teach them, you know, like there's so many different businesses and, types of things to get into. And like I said, I'm not sure if he meant it literally or figuratively. He didn't really like explain too much about it, but I just think, man, like if I I I just don't think that if it's literally it's a good idea. Um I think with all that land, if that particular church like wants to make, more money to like help out the community even more, I think that there's other avenues to do that, especially with all that land as well. Um y'all know Jamal Bryant. If y'all know Jamal Bryant's in his situations, with his wife, starting from Giselle Bryant. Y'all know he's done some things. Y'all know he's done some things, but that's another conversation for another day. So even that situation, I'm just like, sir, what are you talking about? But yeah, like I'm not, when it comes to like certain like drugs like that, like I'm not really saying it to like judge people harshly in any way, or even to judge. Like we all have our own perspectives on everything. I'm allowed to have my perspective on things just like you're allowed to have your perspectives on things. And I think that if somebody does come to church and they used to smoke weed, so they should still be able to come to church. If somebody is coming to church and they're interested in coming to church, they're interested in knowing about Jesus, but they leave church, they smoke weed. Well, everyone has their own things that they're going through. Somebody could come to church and they could be like, I want to know more about Jesus, and they could go home and still do that. But one day, knowing the power of Jesus Christ, they might not even have the, what's it called? The need, or they might not even have the affinity to even do that type of stuff anymore, because that's how he works. He purifies people. He purifies people. Even like people who have a strong relationship with Christ, sometimes they make mistakes and they bounce back immediately. And so but the thing about the church is, when you're in such like a leadership position, like you just have to try to be careful, because you don't want to bring things that are not of the Bible purposely to the church. So obviously somebody could be, living a certain type of life. That doesn't mean that you should allow that certain type that type of behavior inside the church. You can talk about how certain things are good or bad and talk about different topics, and they could go home and still be, dealing with what they're dealing with. And that's why church is supposed to be a community, so that we can like, help each other. Leadership can help people who are needing help in certain things. But my point is, yes, like sinners, all of us should be able to come to church. It doesn't mean that we should purposely allow any type of like behavior that would probably not benefit the church inside the church. So I hope that makes sense. So it's not to judge, it's just to kind of like explain like a principle. Like if you're trying so hard to change something, would it be advisable to put yourself in an environment that's going to continue to cause you to stumble? No. You would try to go to an environment that is a little bit different, is what you're needing, is what you hope to look like one day. Church is a hospital. It's for growth, it's for healing. So yeah. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so y'all stay blessed. Bye.
Because I'm mindful that I'm not after Christians. I'm after people who don't go to church. And a lot of churches are just recycling people from other churches. That's not who I'm after. I'm looking for people that smell like weed. I'm at a place, Rashawn. Really is. New Birth is the largest land-owning Black church in America.
Wow.
And so my position to my deacons is, why aren't we not raising cannabis? I'll be able to bring in Black males. They're able to do it legally. I'm teaching them farming.
Oh, my God.
I'm helping them to enhance the ecosystem. This is the kind of conversation. So if the guy, Black boy in Bankhead said, they growing weed at the church, where do I join?
Yes.
I don't need no pamphlet for him. You know what I mean?
Right.